All right, going live. What's that say? Welcome to the chat. I don't know. It gives a little disclaimer every time I go live. Oh, pay attention to the chat. You know, you will see it come up, whatever it is. It's a nice day out today. It's a little bit breezy because there's some storm activity that could potentially pop up. Tomorrow's going to be a worse day as far as that goes. Yesterday was beautiful. Today's a really nice day. A little more humid today, though. I can feel it. Dogs are over here. Hopefully they're going to be good. It is Tuesday, July 11th, 2023. Hey, Paulie P, what's up, man? From the road, Paulie P. Yeah, so today is 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven. How convenient, right? I should turn my cup around. Rand looked like he hopped in here. Oh, man. See, this is what happens when you drink coffee outside. You'll get little critters in it. There we go. Get the emoji correct on this one. So what's happening today? A lot of things. It's been, I haven't made a video since, what, Friday? Today's Tuesday. I am going to my oldest son's birthday today. Happy birthday to him, Paulie. That's awesome. Yeah, exactly. Get some unwanted protein in the coffee cup, right? And some gnats. It's not my problem, he says. So anyway, yeah, there's some things going on. I have been, I've had a few more people reach out to me on doing videos. Check the description of this video. I've got a link to last week's video that I did with on Blind Dave's channel with the was a great group of guys. We're gonna do it again in 2 days on Thursday. So we're gonna start doing that live on Thursday nights, 5 to 7 p.m. Central Time on Blind Dave's channel. But there is a link in the description below on this video to where you can watch last week's show. And it went pretty quickly, you know, it was a good continuity, good chemistry, and I think it'll be a good show going forward. A lot of good information. There goes the county, doing a little bit of work on the roads, driving by real slow, looking for cans, I'm sure. No, they're not. Who knows what they're doing? Just taking a smoke break. So, yeah, check that out. And they probably stopped. So the dogs are freaking out, you know, territorial. Hey. Hey. So anyway, there's we're doing that video on Thursdays now, and then as usual do the happy hour this Wednesday evening. It's going to be recorded with Kent, Crypto Experiences by St. Jerome. I've got his video. It's hard to find sometimes, you know, some of these YouTube channels. Mine's probably hard to find too. I mean, if you don't have a lot of subscribers, it makes it difficult to find people on YouTube because the algorithm just doesn't show them up. Like if you go and try and find Mitchie's Motivational Monday, if you put like Mitchie's Motivation, it won't even show up. You got to dig a little bit deeper. So what I do is go to their channel, to the homepage of their YouTube channel, and I'll link it. And DigiByte news. What's the DigiByte news? I don't know. DigiByte's on sale right now. That's the news. You should probably look at acquiring some if, you know, if you look at the cycles and all. So by 2025, it should be good. But you look at, what is going on? People going slow here. Just 1 minute. Okay. Looks like something got broken there they have to fix. So they're pulled over and the dogs are attentively watching. People driving by slow. Getting some action out here in the country. So, no, St. Jerome of Crypto Experiences, basically what I was saying is if you go to clintwestwood.net, I link everybody, you know, that I talk about, all their channels there under community resources, I think it is. And so you can directly link to their YouTube channels instead of searching for them and trying to find them. Maybe not getting to the right channel, but you can go to clintwestwood.net. I've got a lot of good information out there I try and put out there, especially if you're new to crypto. There are some videos out there of Andreas Antonopoulos. He goes into it. There's a couple of other good ones. Links to the Bitcoin, Litecoin, DigiByte communities. If they've got a foundation, it links to that informational pages so you get a good understanding of what those coins are and do your own research. So yeah, there's some good stuff out there, but the main thing is Crypto Experiences by St. Jerome. His link is out there. You know, go subscribe to his channel. I'll be doing an interview with him tomorrow evening, and then he'll be posting it probably late tomorrow, if not probably Thursday. But no, it's good. I like to see when people do that stuff. I should do that, I guess. Maybe I should interview some people, but you know, I don't know. I'm just not, it's not my stick, you know, it's not my thing. It's not my shtick. when I got into crypto, it's not to, you know, everybody's got their own path. Everybody's got their own, you know, what they want to do. And a lot of people in the crypto space, they want to build a business or a brand or a, you know, whatever it is. You know, they've got a mission in crypto. My whole mission for being in crypto is I just want sound money. You know, and so that's why you don't find me talking a lot about, hey, you know, these coins might be, and I can do it. And maybe on another show, you know, like maybe tomorrow on St. Jerome, you know, Kent will ask me about it. You know, hey, what coins do you think, you know, would be good investments right now? Yeah, God forbid I use that word, investments. What are you looking at right now, Westwood? Maybe that's the better question. And there are coins that I'm looking at that are really undervalued. That, yeah, I mean, you could probably make some dollar returns on it. But I guess the question is, what are you going to do with them? Are you going to use those dollars to actually build something? You know, in real life, because ultimately that's what cryptocurrency is. It's just money to be used for real stuff. And so that goes back to my overall philosophy of why am I in it? Because I want sound money. And that's really what it comes down to. I just want the world to work as we were promised in grade school. You know, life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. You know, pay your bills, pay your taxes, whatever it is, and you know everything's going to be fine. We'll be taken care of and be able to live free, you know, that stuff. And it's just that's not the case. You get robbed with inflation. So I'm looking. I just want to be paid for what I'm worth. Is really what it comes down to. And that's why I'm in crypto, because I've seen an opportunity, or at least an escape valve to a system that's completely corrupt, completely inflationary, and there's no stopping it. And it's not going to change. So I often use the example of the 4 quarters in 1964. That used to be minimum, or 5 quarters. It used to be minimum wage, $1.25. 5 quarters in 1964. Minimum wage per hour, $1.25. This is not that great of a cigar. It's canoeing. It's probably going to go out. But in 1964, you had $1.25 minimum wage per hour, 5 quarters. That's what it was. If you save the 5 quarters, which was 90% silver then, it's worth over $20 right now. So, you know, if you were still paid in that, that's $20 an hour. Okay? And there's 2 ways to look at that. It's like, well, minimum wage must be lower than really what it should be. Well, yeah, it kind of is. Because you know, so that's one thing. The other thing is, if you'd retained your, you know, labor in dollar bills, Federal Reserve notes, you still got $1.25. I mean, that paper doesn't buy you anything anymore. You can't even buy a candy bar with it. But if you had put it into sound money at that time and held it, look where you're at. I mean, you would have retained your purchasing power. That $1.25 now becomes $20. So you've carried that forward into the future. And that's all I'm looking to do. I'm just looking for something that going forward, you know, I work my whole life. I want to, you know, be able to save something that's going to hold something for me, my energy, and lock it up. And, you know, silver's one of those things that can definitely do that. Gold's one of those things that can definitely do that. It's, yeah, no kidding. Exactly, Durand. I'd love to get paid 40 silver quarters a day. No kidding, man. I mean, think about it. And that stuff's always going to hold value over time. And that's what I'm seeking out. You know, silver is a great solution to that. And that's what got me, you know, really before crypto. That was the only option I saw, because gold was a little more expensive, and, you know, silver was just more affordable for me, easier to get whenever I needed it. But then crypto came along, and then I kind of woke up a little bit and said, all right, everything is digital. I mean, everywhere you pay is digital. My daughter's going to college. It's a digital campus. You know, you can't pay for cash, use cash for anything. That's where most colleges are going, most sports arenas are going. They're digital. It's all digital. So that's where it's at, and that's where it's going. What I'm doing right now is digital. Everything we do is digital. And there's just really no denying that. Now you can still, you know, opt out of that whole thing, and it's much more difficult. And when they eliminate cash, it's going to be a lot more difficult. And so, yeah, maybe silver will come in handy. But you just got to realize, you know, as things transition, you can sit there and badmouth the automobiles because, you know, you've got a bunch of horses and say, well, the horses are the way to go. I'm going to stick with the horses. Okay. And some people have still done that, but it makes life much more difficult if you're riding a horse to work. Whereas now you've got an automobile that you can take. So you've got to see where the changes in the technology, where it's going. And and just understand that and know that that's where it's going. But you can take a different path. You can buy an automobile that doesn't have OnStar in it, to where it can't be shut down remotely, and hang on to that. Or you can opt in and go full digital and have everything drive itself. I mean, so there's different paths within the technology that you can take to still maintain a semblance of freedom as technology ramps forward. And that's kind of the way I look at cryptocurrency. You can opt into a central bank issued digital currency. I saw the UK is talking about the Britcoin. They're going to issue a Britcoin, which is basically a CBDC. See, they're all going to do this. It's all culminating. And I think this is a lot of what we're going to get into on our Thursday show on Dave's channel. Where are the governments going? What's their plan? What's their outline? What is the time frame? What are the cryptocurrencies that are going to be completely, hijacked, regulated by the government? And what are the things that are going to allow you to still maintain and operate in and out of that whole system? So that's kind of what I'm looking at. What are those solid cryptocurrencies that you can be involved in and still maintain control over yourself and your energy and be able to move them around any way you want? So anyway, big tangent there. I wasn't really going to get into that. What I saw RFK had made, it was the top article on Zero Hedge. Robert, I think it's Francis Kennedy, running for president. I mean, every time I watch him, I like what he has to say. He's not real reactionary, and he really can't be with his voice. He can't, be out there all passionate and overreact. He's just really going to be more thoughtful before he speaks, because it's more difficult for him to speak. But he is pretty thoughtful. I do like a lot of his stances, his policy, where he comes down. He doesn't seem like he's that candidate. It's almost like, I'm just doing this because I want to do it, because I feel like, I have something to offer and I can help change America, and I have a lot of great ideas. I don't see him as that demigod, that guy that wants to be the president kind of thing. It's almost kind of nonchalant, which I kind of like. Because, you should be there to serve and not there just as, this whole campaign thing. I mean, yeah, he's campaigning, but it's not like some of these candidates where they're out there in the bully pulpit and shouting and screaming. And I don't know, he seems like a thoughtful guy that does a lot of research, got a lot of information in his mind, and he can really go into it. And I like that. But top story on Zero Hedge is like every other guy that's on YouTube, right? They just read Zero Hedge articles, and that's basically their content. No, I did see this, and I do want to kind of read a couple of them. RFK Jr. CIA was involved in funding Wuhan COVID leak lab. Okay. It says, in an interview with Fox News' Jesse Waters, Kennedy suggested that Biden administration is not interested in punishing China for covering up the lab leak because it would expose National Institutes of Health funded bioweapons programs. And a quote, I think the CIA was involved certainly in this research. Here we go, another Kennedy calling out the CIA. What could go wrong? Kennedy proclaimed, adding, they were funding it through USAID and NIH, I think, in the end game, about $26 million in funding to the Wuhan lab. But USAID, which was functioning as the CIA surrogate, gave over $64 million to the lab. The Pentagon also gave a lot of money. I mean, here you are with all the government agencies that have been set up. And again, it's about the money. And they funded this lab. We kind of all knew that. And that's why you're really not seeing an investigation. I think he's 100% right. I like that he's calling that out. It's a dangerous thing to be doing that. Do you see any other presidential candidate calling that stuff out? I mean, he's just kind of following the money wherever it goes and talking about it. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that exposure. And I think that's a good thing. So, and it's a good article. Go to Zero Hedge and take a look at it. I don't know. I think it's a good thing. He's also calling out Lindsey Graham, Senator Lindsey Graham, because warmonger Lindsey's out there again, acting like a clown as usual, talking about how we have to get Ukraine into NATO. And I like how Robert Kennedy pointed out, well, basically all you're doing is trying to start World War III at that point. Because once you get Ukraine into NATO, and there's talks right now going, Sweden apparently is going to be in NATO now. Turkey said, oh, okay. So some deals were made. I don't know. It's almost like this Cold War thing heating up again. You've got these factions that are They're trying to line up and side up, you know, BRICS on the one side almost, NATO on the other side, the ancient Western alliances that are dying. But I don't know. It's a struggle. It's kind of a war over the money and control of resources, and we're seeing that play out. Cluster bombs, Joe Biden, you know, it used to be bad that cluster bombs, most NATO allies, most Western allies of the United States would say that cluster bombs are bad. We shouldn't be using them. Well, now it's okay. Blinken, I think this morning, was talking about, you know, was point blank asked, hey, you know, why all of a sudden the shift? You know, cluster bombs used to be bad. Now, why is the Biden administration giving cluster bombs to Ukraine? And his response was, well, we just can't get enough. They're running out of equipment. They're running out of munitions. So this is a stopgap effort. We don't have anything else to send, basically, to give them. So we're going to give them cluster bombs. And I mean, it's again, is that the American ideal? Do you stand for something and say this is wrong, and then when it becomes convenient, say, well, it's okay to use it? I mean, this is the constant spiel we see. We can't spy on Americans, it's wrong. Whoa, shoot, 2 planes hit the towers and they fell down. Then another tower fell down, and then the Pentagon blew up mysteriously, a hole in it. We need to spy on Americans. You know, and it's just, they throw constitutional precepts out the window for the fact of convenience. Well, yeah, just like the whole COVID thing. Well, I mean, you know, you got the right to, you know, take it or not, but, you know, you need to take it. Otherwise, you can't go to a restaurant. You can't go to work. And it's, you know, your liberties get thrown out the window whenever there's a crisis. Well, that's the whole reason why you have a constitution, is to protect you when it's that dark time of tyranny, when governments are going to tell you you can't do these things. That's why they're clearly enunciated in the Constitution. I mean, these are principles that it doesn't matter if there's a war or anything like this. You can't suspend habeas corpus. I mean, you can't violate the right to bear arms. I mean, you can't gag people and not let them speak. I mean, that's the reason why these are there, for hard times. I mean, in easy times, nobody worries about it. But when it's hard times, well, that's when they start trying to take it away. And who does it? The government tries to do it. The same entity that Constitution was written to protect you against. I mean, does it not compute? Just like cluster bombs. Cluster bombs are bad. You know, it does a lot of damage. You know, we got all these unexploded devices that didn't blow up, you know, and later on, people are going to step on them and blow up, and innocents get killed. So we shouldn't be using cluster bombs. Why are we using cluster bombs in Ukraine? Well, the Russians did it, so we can do it. And we're running out of arms after how many hundreds of billions, you know, well, I don't know, 100+ billion, 100 to 200 billion dollars we've given to Ukraine. Then they have no more weapons. They're out of munitions. How can that be? I mean, how can that be? How many mansions did Zelensky get in the process? And all the, you know, the entourage around him. I mean, this whole thing's corrupt. And you've got Lindsey Graham wanting to get them into NATO, and that way it makes it easier for us to go to war. Lindsey, little Lindsey. I mean, it's just absolutely disgusting. These are the so-called people we elected. I don't think so. I don't think so. These are not people who protect the rights of Americans. These people don't care about anything but warmongering. These people don't care about anything but greasing their own back pockets, and God knows what else they're involved in. Absolutely silly. I mean, what are we going to war for? Why do we want to get engaged in these foreign entanglements? I certainly don't. I don't think it benefits anybody out here where I live. None of us want to be going to war. Nobody wants to send troops over there. What's going on? But that's what they want to do. So anyway, go check out little Lindsey. The other thing that I find I'll tell you what I find ridiculous. Coffee. I need to read the chat. Let me open the chat up. But coffee, you ever watch TV shows? I hope you don't, because it's not healthy. But you ever watch TV shows like cop shows and lawyer shows, and, you know, somebody brings in the coffee, sweet Lindsay, yeah. Somebody brings in the coffee, and they've got the container, you know, that holds 4 cups. And it's as light as, you know, my pair of glasses, you know. It's just really light when they come in. There's obviously no coffee in it, and it's all just a prop. And it really upsets me. It really does. Because every TV show, every movie, it's the same way. I want to see one time... What are they even barking at? I want to see one time where somebody comes in, you know, it's all, because this is normal, real life, where they come in and the coffee's so full, it's dripping out the side, and they're like, oh, they set it down, I'll burn myself. I mean, but they don't do that in movies because it's a distraction from the message, I guess. But that's reality. Let's make a real show to where, you know, you can actually see and fill it with water or something, so it looks like there's some weight to it. I mean, it's just such a fraud. Hey, what's the matter? I tell you what, I don't understand it sometimes. Just bark at nothing. But yeah, the whole coffee thing, it just upsets me. You know, when they've got empty coffee cups and they're walking on screen and obviously not carrying anything. It's like the fraud. I mean, once you see fraud, you see it everywhere. Once you understand the fraud of how the whole system works, you see nothing but fraud. I mean, it's just everywhere. Once you break out of that mind control, I mean, you can see, hey, what's the matter? This is what happens when you do it live. This is why I never used to do it live. But anyway, that adds to the whole character of it. So, to go along with the whole fraud thing, we've got all this weather that's going on. Now it's a big heat wave. Oh, it's going to be the hottest ever. It is summer, by the way. Yeah, it's hot. Oh, people are going to die, this and that. Yeah, I mean, that does happen. It does get hot, and especially when you're living along the Gulf. There's a lot of heat that can push up. Okay, so climate change, oh, we got 1,000-year floods in New York and Vermont, and I mean, 1,000-year flood that happens every couple of years. I mean, come on. I mean, this language that they use, this 1,000-year stuff, I have no idea what they're barking at. More fraud. There might be a ground squirrel over there or something. But it seems like every time, you know, the water rises, it's a 1,000-year event or a 500-year event. Doesn't even matter. See, it's just like an empty coffee cup, just a prop. That's all I'm here for. I'm a prop. So, yeah, 1,000-year floods. It's just fear, you know, and then what are they going to do about it? That's the thing. I heard the governor of New York, whatever her name is, Holcomb. I don't know what her name is, but she was talking about we need to do something. We need to protect our people. We need to realize that, you know, a lot of this is, you know, we got to quit causing these problems. And it's, what are you going to do about it? Carbon taxes? I'm trying to get this live up. Why can't I do it? I'm trying to see the chat, guys and gals. But our carbon credit, there we go. Our carbon credit's going to fix it? Is that going to stop the rain? Is that going to prevent heat from rising? I mean, what's going to fix it? Yeah, never blame the sun. Exactly, Daddy-O. And most of us have dogs. Yeah, I am Fram. So, I don't know. It's just another control grab. I mean, think about it. If you lived 200 years ago, I'm in Illinois, 200 years ago, and this happens in New York and Vermont, would I know about it? Nope. Wouldn't even know about it. Would have no idea that it's happening. But now we've got this mass media, mass control media. So I turn on the morning shows just to see what's happening and see what propaganda they've got on the agenda for the day. And boom, you know, that's it. Oh, standing in the water, and oh, it's terrible. And it is terrible. I mean, people, you know, that are out there, I mean, no, I mean, it's just a bad situation. I mean, it just is. Bad things happen. Weather, constantly. That's why people used to live in certain places. That's why people, you know, they pack up teepees and move and follow the bison. And, you know, go where the food is. Live near a river, but they realize every year the river floods. Got to be careful. That's, you know, that's why it's fertile, the Fertile Crescent. I mean, so we've dealt with this for our entire existence. And that's why people settle where they settle. And it's just that, again, if we didn't have it put in our face and think that, oh my gosh, look, the fires, and I guess in North America, the fires right now are lower than normal. They're not as bad as they usually are, but nobody talks about that. But oh my gosh, look at smoke from Canada. Floods in the Northeast, severe heat waves in the South. I mean, it's kind of a nice day here. I wouldn't know otherwise. And if I didn't have all the propaganda on the screen, I wouldn't know any different. And I mean, that's kind of how it has always been until we had mass media. So I don't know. I think it's a little, oh good, it's ready to ship. Got a little silver on the way, notification. So it's almost like they just want to whip you up into this state of fear so that you'll believe in an agenda. And then what is the agenda? It's climate change. I mean, see, that's like our new war. And if you take, I mean, I'm all for a clean environment. I don't want dirty rivers. I don't want dirty skies. I want to breathe healthy air, except I'm smoking. I don't want the pollution. I mean, who wants to drink mercury water? I mean, it doesn't make sense, does it? Who wants to drink fluoridated water too? And that doesn't make sense. But nobody wants a bad environment. Nobody wants pollution. And so you try to find ways around that. You know, you innovate around that, you know, so you create clean coal. You know, you clean it up as much as you can. And, you know, it's dirty to begin with, but you try and clean it up until you can transition to something more clean. Okay, maybe propane. Okay, maybe a few windmills here and there. But the thing is with the windmill thing, you look at the input costs of it, and I can look right out here and see the windmills. They're turning a little bit today. Some days they don't turn at all. Some days some turn and others don't. Go figure. But you look at the input costs, and I see them going down the road being held or driven on flatbed trucks, diesel semis that get what, Paulie, 7 miles to the gallon, you know, diesel, hauling these big propellers, these big wings on one flatbed. And there's what, 4 of them, 5 of them, I think 4 of them, 3 of them of these. And then you've got the whole body of it, you know, all these trucks got to haul these different pieces of it. Okay, that's just the hauling of it, burning diesel to move it and get them in place. Well, then you have to have how much oil to make those gears turn? I have no idea. I'm just throwing it out there. And then what happens when they're damaged? What happens if, you know, you got to repair it? You know, how much energy does it really generate? It's not on-demand energy, so you got to store it somewhere or feed it right to the grid, and you can only use it when it's being fed, or you got to have some sort of batteries or something to hold that energy. I mean, how do you start it? Do you need a generator or something, or natural gas to get it going? I mean, I don't know. There's all these factors. All the input costs, you know, all of the, you know, the digging and, you know, creating the metal and fabricating and all this stuff, hauling it. And does it really pay the bills? Does it really pay for the input costs? I don't think it does. Yet, that's the agenda. So you got to ask yourself, would any of this happen if it weren't for government intervention? And I would say I don't think it would. Government's just picking winners and losers. And they can do that because they passed a, what was it, the what the hell was it? The Inflation Reduction Act. And then they had an infrastructure bill. But a lot of the Inflation Reduction Act, I think, had a lot of green money, basically giving it to these companies. Gave $4 to $9 billion loan to build battery companies or some crap. I mean, because it's not the market deciding these things at all. No, it's the, and you know, government should be there to regulate. I mean, I agree. You don't want them polluting. You don't want them doing bad things. But for the most part, you got to kind of let the free market decide what's going to work and what doesn't work. Let it innovate. But when you have a system like this, you've got a government deciding this is the policy, and we're going to put our money into these things. We're just going to ignore all this other stuff. So all this energy that, you know, cleaner coal, you know, whatever innovations you've got for the fossil fuels, you know, the fuels that are already there, all the innovations and all the ways they've cleaned it up, we just ignore all that. Forget it. We're just going to do all this. Well, if you really game it out and you think of the electrical needs and the demand that is going to be needed, especially with electric cars, that's a whole nother thing. All the stuff is going to be mined out for that stuff. And then if the battery stops working, it's not, you just junk the car because it's not even worth getting a new battery set. Anyway, can't keep it going like an old diesel. But at the end of it, to energize the entire world greenly, okay, so all of the input costs that it takes to make these things, how much would that be? People have gamed it out to where, you know, California, if they were completely energy independent, it would cost them, you know, tens of trillions of dollars just for California. Doesn't make sense. It just doesn't, the resources aren't there. It just doesn't make sense to do it. The cost, it just doesn't make sense. And meanwhile, like I said, we've got storms coming. This is where innovation needs to come in, and lack This is where we can't be suppressing technologies. There's so much energy out here in the air right now. Storms roll in, lightning. I mean, just how much energy and electricity is in that bolt of lightning? I mean, just all that energy moving over the surface of the earth, all that friction, all that can be harnessed in some way that's more efficient than a windmill. There's got to be a way to do that. Why aren't we looking at things like that? Oh, because that might be free energy. We can't do that because nature actually, gives it to us. There's got to be, you go out and all the commercial fishermen, they troll all the fish with these big nets. There's got to be a way to net this stuff to where it comes over and energizes the grid and, comes down. There's got to be a way to do this. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I just know that there's so much energy out in the atmosphere. One bolt of lightning, how much does that produce? And we'll get multiple bolts, in these storms. And it's unreal how much energy is in these storms. And we don't even harness it. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me. Instead, we go through all these roundabout ways, these Rube Goldberg devices. Go look up Rube Goldberg. I mean, that's what we do. We cobble all this stuff together to get a little bit out of it. When there's got to be a better way. It's like a mousetrap, Rube Goldberg device. The ball goes down, hits this. Pee Wee Herman. You ever see Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure? Was it 1986 or something? He wakes up to make a piece of pancake or toast or something, or a waffle. I don't know what it was for his breakfast, and alarm goes off, it clicks this in motion, this flies over here to the puts it in the toaster, pops it up, and so he goes, all this energy wasted just to get a couple of waffles or a couple pieces of toast. I mean, that's the kind of thing we're doing right now. It's a Rube Goldberg device. I mean, go watch that scene, and it doesn't make any sense. And then you start asking yourself, well, maybe it doesn't make sense for a reason. It's because people can divert energy and control energy and move energy here and there and be in control of this agency, be in control of handing out this grant. And so it's just that level of power and control and manipulation and trying to, get you to follow the path that's set before you and jump through this hoop. You jump through this hoop, I'll give you a treat, do a trick. It's like treating us like animals. I treat my dogs better than, they treat us. But that's what we're looking at. Break time for Clint. Yeah, this is my break time right now. Taking a break from work, having a cigar. This cigar right here, it's an Oliva Nub Nuance, and it's the single roast, so it's a coffee flavor. It's kind of like a cappuccino flavor. Speaking of which, I'll have was gardening. There you go. That's it. Hey, it's a good thing to be gardening, growing your own stuff. Paulie P, looks like you're in Texas. Yeah, you can't recycle the blades and they kill birds. Yeah, thanks, Rand. Think about it though. What do they do with all these old windmills, the blades? I've seen pictures of it. I don't know how accurate they are, where you've got a Caterpillar diesel tractor burying these blades, from the windmills when they go bad. Putting them in a landfill, covering them up. I mean, that's another visitor. I don't know. But what do you do with this stuff? It just doesn't make sense. And then you look back at Tesla technology and what he was trying to do, just right out of the atmosphere, tied to the earth and the atmosphere, harnessing the power that's already there in a decentralized way. I mean, doesn't that make sense? I mean, I get it. If you're going to put solar panels and maybe a windmill on your property and be self-sufficient, I mean, all that stuff's going to wear out at some point. The cells are going to, you got to clean them, the dust and hail hits it and ruins them. The windmill, gets out of alignment because it blows so hard, and it's a mechanical part. I mean, I get trying to do that. I think the better solution would be maybe there's technology that's already out there that's been suppressed. I mean, you go back and look at some of this amazing stuff that Tesla was doing and you think, wow, I mean, there's something to it. Then you start looking at monuments and you look at pyramids and you look at these ancient structures and you think, were they doing something like that? Were they tapped into some sort of energy source, using it, and we're not being told the truth here? Never know. So, it is what it is, I guess. We just have to realize that and realize we've been lied to. Call them out when we can, just like if Lindsey Graham's trying to get Ukraine and NATO, to start World War III. At least, make an effort, call your senator, email them, whatever, and say, no, vote no on this stuff. No, we don't support this. Make a little bit of noise, because they do still respond to that. They don't, you know, they'll feel that heat and feel that pressure, and I think we need to put that on them and let them know they are representatives of us. And I think a loud enough voice, and they will back down. They don't want to hear it. So you know, we got to do what we can do in many ways. Paulie says, I see windmill graveyards full of used and broken propellers and such, turbines that look like they've caught fire. Yeah, I mean, it starts spinning. I've seen it before. Not in person, but I've seen the videos of it, where these things are spinning so bad. I mean, the engine, the rotary, whatever, coils in it catch on fire. Things ruin, melts them, killing birds. I mean, the shadow effect, it's real creepy. If you ever drive by one of these, I can't imagine living near one, especially in the shadow of the wing, you know, that goes around. It's a very disorienting feeling, these windmills. Kind of an unnatural effect in a way, because it's so big when you're standing there and you see that blade block the sun, block the sun, block the sun as it goes around. It's kind of an eerie thing, you know. And again, I always say trust yourself. If you got a weird feeling about something in your gut, you should probably go with it. And I should know. My gut. A lot of information there. Growing bigger. I need to go on a cleanse again. Just don't feel good. Eat too much. Garbage. Need to eat better. I've got a couple other notes, but I did see. I want to talk about this. This thing's getting low. Fake chicken. Almost fake chicken. I saw a program on a Sunday morning show, or I can't remember the name of it. Looked like it was an Indian guy, Indian, Asian Indian. He has a company, it's like Upstart maybe, something like that, chicken. And what they've done is they've taken actual chicken cells and in a lab reproduced them and formed new chicken cells. So it's not like it's fake chicken. It's actually from the cells of, you know, and that's all cells are. They just divide and divide and divide and grow and grow. I mean, so what he's done is taken real chicken cells and cultivated them and made it into chicken. More chicken products, rather than raising the chicken, slaughtering the chicken, you know, and having the big warehouses and the disease. It's in a controlled environment. And you see, you know, this gourmet restaurant prepared it and people are eating it. They're like, oh, that's really good. Tastes like chicken. But I see this happening more and more. I saw with baby monitors. There's like a video baby monitor to where, I mean, the parents, I don't know what the reason was. I don't know, the parents in the hospital, the baby's in the other room. I'm not sure what it was. But it gave that bonding experience, you know, to where you had the video and the baby could hear your voice, you know, when you're not in the room. And see, I kind of see this as a grander thing, a bigger thing, to where they want to separate us from our food supply and knowing where it comes from. They want to separate our children from us. And at some point, you know, it's like, wow, why would you go through the trouble of getting pregnant? You know, you can be in the, you know, the high-tech, sophisticated, temperature-controlled incubator, have your baby grown in that and watch it grow live. And you can talk to it all the time via closed circuit. That's old school, but via internet, via Zoom call. And why go through and put your body through the stress, you know, because, you know, childbirth, you know, can cause death and all these things. They're going to sell it to you as it's such a great thing. Technology is taking care of all this, you know, so that you can have a healthier pregnancy. And you'll see this at all stages in the food. Oh, why would we kill chickens? You know, it's the humane way to do things. And, you know, it's the same thing as, you know, having the chicken. It's just, you know, you don't have the diseases. You don't have all this. It's in a controlled environment. Tastes just like chicken. It's from the actual cells of chickens. They'll do the same thing with beef. They'll do the same thing with everything. And it'll be a George Jetson replicator world at that point. You know, it's like, oh, what do you want to eat? Put it on a tray. How many kids you want? This. And then you want a boy or a girl? You know, you want blonde hair? You want blue eyes? What do you want? And it gets grown in the lab and then it shows up. You know, it's like Prime Day. You know, it'll be Prime Day every day. You'll have, just click what you want and have it delivered. Hey, we're already working on this one, and, you know, they didn't have the bill to finish the sequence and, you know, for the child that they wanted to incubate. So we've got this one here. You know, it's a refurbed model, you know, child that, you know, is in the lab that, you know, we got to get rid of it and do something with it. So, I mean, you can have that one at half price. It's already pre-configured. I mean, you know, we can still tweak it a little bit if you want to, and then, you know, it'll be delivered here in a couple of months. I mean, I joke about this stuff, but at some point, what makes you think that that won't happen? You're seeing, what was it, 30%, nearly 30% of the people in the US right now live alone. They don't live with anybody. And, you know, they probably got the plastic, you know, models coming, and, you know, they're able to watch whatever they want, virtual reality at some point. Why reproduce? You know, why get married? Why have all that hassle? Get all my needs taken care of with the, you know, the cyberbot here. You know, we're in the metaverse. I'm immersed and I get all the same pleasures and feelings without leaving my chair. I mean, you kind of see where it's going with technology, or at least I do. And that's where these, you know, techo pushers, you know, at the top want to do. They want to disconnect you from anything that's real, anything that starts out from the seed and grows. You know, like if you're planting a garden, you put the seed in there, watch it grow, nourish it, boom, produces all this fruit, save the seeds. You know, and you see the cycle of life. They want to disrupt that and make it to where, hey, you know, we are the gods. We can change anything and make it any way we want. Yeah, it's all fine. You know, do whatever you want. You don't want to be a male, become a female. No big deal. You want to switch back? Maybe a bigger deal. But I just see that that's kind of where it's going. Yeah, it's just, it's a sci-fi, you know, crazy, you know, all these movies that we've watched in the past, this science fiction stuff is becoming a reality. I mean, it really is, to where right now, like I said, you know, we've got people not living together, living alone, and they live virtually, and nobody meets and nobody talks, and you can do all these things. Hey, we got COVID, everybody work from home. I work from home, have for 20 years. But you've got that situation to where people have disconnected and they don't know how to engage. They don't know how to look anybody in the eye anymore, and it's all just this virtual. And pretty soon, you know, I see this on Twitter all the time, and it is what it is. People will have like an AI generated image of themselves. It might be in like war costumes, it might be in, you know, big headdress or whatever it is, whatever their mood is. That's how they see themselves, and that's how they want to project themselves. So they AI their face, you know, with this other garb out there, and you know, and that's their image for the day. And I see that taking hold to where it's a semblance of you, and you're just projecting, you know, what you want to look like, or what you want to feel like, or what you want to be for that day. And that's all the other person's going to see. You know, you get on a Zoom call or you interact, and they'll see that face. It's like a filter. You know, instead of looking at the real Westwood right here, baby, and all its inglorious bastardization, you get to see the beautified, you know, whatever AI generated face, where it looks real with the green screen at the back. You know, everything's fine. But, you know, Westwood today looks like, I don't know, what the hell? I have no idea. What do I look like? An American Ninja Warrior, or who knows, or a samurai. But that's just what's going to happen. You're not going to know what's real anymore. You'll get on with somebody. I'll get on with my video tomorrow with St. Jerome, you know, the interview we're going to do, and you know, I'll have my AI version on. Oh, it's Wednesday, you know, this is how I feel today. So, you know, I'm going to have a suit on. I'll have this on, and hair slicked back, and all my teeth. And, but it's not real. But it's not real. And see, that's where I take issue. And some people are like, oh, that's okay. That's why we wear makeup. That's why we put on different clothes. That's why we hide our imperfections. And I get that. But again, it comes down to your lack of self-confidence at the deepest level. And that's why I just get to the point, maybe it's because I'm getting older. I don't know, but my youngest daughter, she's kind of that way too. She's like, whatever, I don't care. My oldest daughter's that way too, but she, you know, she just, you know, anyway. They kind of do what they want, which I do admire that. They just kind of carve their own path out. But I'm to the point where I just don't care. You know, I got a tooth bothering me up here, and I went to the dentist, and he's like, oh, the top nerve there, I can see why it's bothering you a little bit. We really don't need to do anything with it yet. I mean, by do anything, it's, oh, am I going to have a root canal and drill all that out and put a cap on it and spend $3 grand? No, I'm not going to do that. But by doing anything about it, it's going to be, I'm going to pull it. I'm going to have, well, I'm not going to do it. I'll have, you know, a professional do it. So I'm not into that. I'll have them pop it out, and it's like right here, right in the front, you know, so it'd be right there. And I mean, yeah, it doesn't look good when you smile. I mean, I get it, but I just don't care. I mean, I'm to that point in life where it just doesn't bother me anymore. yeah, I mean, it's just superficial. I take care of my teeth. I just have the, it is what it is. Just don't have the greatest teeth. Eyes, same way, blind as a bat. So I had LASIK eye surgery, and now it's kind of coming back to where I still need to wear glasses. I'm fine out here, but you got to wear glasses. And it doesn't matter to me anymore. I mean, all the artificialities, all the things that aren't real, I mean, all the things that, bother people so much. I mean, technology is going to give them an outlet, an avenue to say, oh, now I can be the person that I really envision that I want to be. Well, who cares, superficially what it is, because you're going to be dust at some point. I mean, you're going to be rotting, decaying flesh at some point. You can't fix that. I mean, they would like to take your brain stack and, put that into another being or, that's created in a lab. That'll probably happen. And I guess if you have enough money, you go on forever and become immortal. There's a series about that on, I think, Netflix, Black Carbon. Okay, I guess that's it. But, I mean, who wants to live forever, though? I mean, think of it. I mean, see everybody die around you and see everything, what is it? At what point? Okay, now I'm just a multi-billionaire. And what different, how are you going to live differently forever at that point? Might sound great, but how many pleasures can you have in one lifetime? I mean, I've said this before, there's a season for everything, and we've got to realize that we're human beings. We go through a cycle, we go through a process, and to make everything artificial, we're not human anymore. And so if that's the goal, and if that's happiness to people, then I guess that's happiness. To me, it's not happiness. I just, I appreciate the fact that, I got a little pain here and there, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to get through the day. I'm going to stretch. I'm going to do, it's good to realize that you're mortal, I think, because when you think you're immortal, you probably do things you shouldn't be doing. That's where all the Greek lessons of hubris, and pride come in, and all the literature, throughout past history that's taught us. Hey, you get too prideful and you engage in what's called hubris, the ultimate form of pride, you're going to get knocked down. You might not think you will, but at some point you're going to get to the highest level that you think you've achieved, and it won't be enough, and then you're gone. I mean, that's just what happens. And so learning those lessons, through the gradual regression, I guess, of life is, to me, a good thing. And that's just the way I look at things. But so, yeah, a lot of artificial things coming. Technology is going to allow that. Do we allow ourselves to be just fully immersed in that and lose who we are? Or do we maintain a semblance, and really not just a semblance, of maintain our identity and our souls and our spirits as we go through it and navigate through it? And that's a lot of what crypto is to me. It's kind of it's a spiritual dilemma in a lot of ways. You're putting your faith in a technology, and you've got to be good with that. You got to understand that, but you understand that it is a technology, and that at some point, I mean, face it, you've got living on Hawaii or something, living in paradise, and you got silver and gold, and it all gets melted. I mean, in a lava flow, that can happen. EMP strikes America and all the power goes out, for good. How do we recover? Well, I mean, the rest of the world is still running blockchain and, able to transact digitally, but, you can't because you're stuck here. You're like, how do I live? I just need water and food at this point and somewhere to, hide. So, I don't know. We just got to realize where we're at and don't become too dependent. Trust yourself. Don't let this stuff bother you too much. I don't know. This is more of just kind of a little bit of a rant today, a little bit of a talk. So yeah, I am for I am. I appreciate it. That's all I'm doing. I'm just I'm talking about, the things that I think about. That's what I'm talking about today. And this is what goes through my head. So no, I appreciate you guys hopping in here. I'm looking here. Yeah, there we go. Currently sitting at a Cargill beef plant, says Polly. Cows go in one end, and I haul boxes of hamburger out the other. I mean, and that's where that's kind of our food supply. I have great respect for those people who go out and they hunt their own food and prepare it themselves and honor the food and realize what they're doing and where it comes from. This whole mechanized industrialization of food and life, for that matter, life-death cycle of where, slaughter mechanized slaughtering. It's just, I mean, again, it just disconnects us. It's great. You know, you go to a restaurant, you're like, oh, look at that beautiful steak. It's so good. And then you forget, are you realizing where that comes from? And that, you know, what you were doing or what had to be done to put that in that nice, convenient way on your plate. I mean, do you really realize that? You understand the process? You know, and you're not doing it and you're having other people, you're outsourcing it, but are you honoring that process, or are you giving it the respect it deserves? You know, because that was a living creature, just saying, you know, and to just, and then just throw it away. You know, I'm full, throw it away. I mean, and that happens. I see it all the time, and it's hard for me to deal with, you know. That's why I'm as big as I am, because, you know, I come from, my grandfather came, you know, was a child of the Depression and born right before the Depression, 1923. And he would take me, and his family was very poor, you know, farmed. And I mean, he talked about pear butter. You know, he got so sick of pear butter because they didn't have any money. You know, they had pear trees, they'd make butter out of it, you know. So they eat pear butter all the time. But he always imparted in me that, hey, you know, eat all you want, but don't put stuff on your plate you're not going to eat. Don't waste any of it. And so I never wasted food. I still don't. You know, it's just like, I can't go to a restaurant. That's why I don't like going to restaurants. I go to a restaurant, daughter will order something, wife will order something, I'll order something. And then I'm like, why did I even order anything? Because y'all aren't going to finish your stuff and I finish it for you. I never leave anything behind. Always take it home and have leftovers. I can't. I just can't do it. My wife told me, you know, they're away right now, and they had, my wife and daughter are traveling to where she's going to school, and they had dinner last night with a family that's going to school there, friends of my daughter, you know, girls going to school there. And, you know, one girl, she ordered big salmon, you know, and then they ordered all this food, and, you know, over half of it went to waste, and they didn't take it home. I mean, I can't handle that. It's like, oh, it's the big one. I mean, I can't waste that food, you know, and it's, I don't know, it's because I guess I understand what it took, you know, what sacrifice was made to provide that, and I can't not honor that. You know, it's not going to be wasteful. I don't know, that's just ingrained in me. I think a lot of it comes from my grandfather, because we would go out, tractors, baby, producing that food for you. Let the tractor go by. But yeah, I have fond memories of my grandfather. We would, you know, he'd give me little jobs and help out. You know, I'd mow the grass, you know, and he'd say, hey, I need some help, and really didn't really need the help, but, you know, he would have me help him do little projects and stuff. And I didn't understand the significance of it, but I appreciate it now. I really do. And, you know, after we're done, he says, oh, let's go get a bite to eat. You know, and so we go to a restaurant, you know, it's down the road, a few miles down the road, relatives owned it. And we'd go there, and, you know, he'd say, order whatever you want, just make sure you eat it. You know, you can get whatever you want, just make sure you eat it. And that's the way I always was. And he's the guy that, you know, if there's anything left on that plate, any bit of gravy or anything on there, he'd love chicken. But he'd take his bread and scoop it up, and that plate was clean when it went back to the kitchen. And I'm the same way. I just, you know, I don't work as hard as he does or did, you know, so I carry more weight than he did. But I can't waste. It's just so wrong to me. I can't deal with it. I used to work in fast food, and you'd throw out so much food, and there's so much food out there, it's ridiculous. Nobody should be starving. Let's just put it that way. So anyway, there's getting into some insights into my mind at this point. All right, I hope to clean your plate, son. Absolutely, clean your plate. You know, you can always get more. There's no sense in taking too much. You know, go back and get more. You know, don't overfill it. You know, your plate. You can just go get more if you need to, but usually you shouldn't. You know, that's how you end up a little heavier like me. All right, silver, whiskey, and tobacco. Those are the investments. There you go, Thorand. I can't say that I disagree with that. All right, I'm gonna wrap this up. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. Just kind of want to do a little bit of a Tuesday talk, I guess we could call it. Tune in tomorrow. Yeah, it's not gonna be live. Thursdays is gonna be live. So tomorrow, be on the lookout for crypto exchanges. I shouldn't even be talking right now. Crypto experiences with St. Jerome, Kent. Good guy. I'll be doing an interview there. We'll see what he wants to do. I don't know. Maybe we'll just, I'm curious what he wants to ask. I'll ask me anything. I'll tell you. But look out for that. That'll be posted on his channel tomorrow night. If you're not following Crypto Experiences, go out to clintwestwood.net. The link is below, and you'll see a link under Community Resources for Crypto Experiences by St. Jerome. You can follow his YouTube channel, subscribe to it, and check out his other videos. He just did a video on his top, I think, 6 picks for 2023, what coins he thinks are going to do well. I should do something like that. Litecoin, DigiByte. There's a couple others that I think are really undervalued right now. Maybe we'll get into that. I think we will. It's not really for this show. We'll do that on his channel. There are some out there that I think right now way undervalued, and they're probably ones you wouldn't expect me to talk about. And that's why I don't talk about it, because, you know, I'm about sound money. Now, there are opportunities out there to where, you know, you can make some money and put it into the sound money, or use it for, you know, building something, or doing something with it in real life. I mean, there are opportunities. I wouldn't want them to be long-term holds though. But I think there are some great opportunities out there right now in the crypto space that are severely undervalued. And I mean, you're looking at 20, 30 times up pretty easily, I think, between now and 2025. I guess we'll talk about those on Kent's show, or Kent's channel, Crypto Experiences by St. Jerome. That'll be posted sometime tomorrow night. I think I do the interview at 5 p.m. or so tomorrow, so he'll have it out tomorrow night. And then Thursday, we'll be live on Blind Dave's channel. Again, in the description below, I've got the link to last week's show. Pretty cool cats, man, on that show. So that'll be live 5 to 7 p.m. Central Time on Thursday on Blind Dave's channel. And then Friday, of course, we've got happy hour. 4 p.m. Central Time to, a little after 5:30, whatever. Give me time to get a little alcohol fume rant going. That's the only day I drink anymore, though. I don't know. I don't care to drink much. So I do it. I do it reluctantly because it's happy hour. I gotta fulfill my duty. So yeah, check out those things. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. Love you all. I really do. Trust yourselves, trust yourselves, trust yourselves. That's what you got to do. Maintain that humanity. Do not let a vampire casino system that's robbing you of your energy. We're going for a ride on the... Yay. That's pretty funny. The dogs are barking. Kids are out there riding around on the gator. Yeah, trust yourself. You have to. I mean, there's just so much that's not real. Realize what's real. Because once it's not real anymore and everything's artificial, then where does that leave you? I mean, where do you get that peace? Where do you get that solitude? I mean, it's probably just going to be a quest for more and more and more and more, like living forever. How much do you need? How much money do you need at that point? It just becomes ridiculous. So, all right. Have a wonderful day. Have a happy Tuesday. I love you all. Trust yourselves, and stay away from the vampire casino. All I want to do is just steal your energy. Don't let them do it. Take a look at Litecoin. All right. Have a great day.